Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Bloomburrow Draft here on the channel. Huge shout out to Wizards of the Coast for giving me a free preview account in the early access event so I can get this recorded for you early. If you do enjoy the video, hit the thumbs up button, subscribe for more, and comment with your questions, thoughts, and feedback. And yeah, if you'd like to find my draft guide for the set, it's already posted on the channel. Essence Channeler. If you've lost life, it gets Flying and Vigilance. When you gain life, you put a counter on it. We're going to be going pick by pick, play by play here on the channel, as we like to do. I don't love this card. Gaining life is a little bit trickier in this set than you might think, considering there's a deck that cares about life gain. It only really fits well into black-white, I think. It's still okay, but not my highest priority. I think that Hunter's Talent is probably just better. It's a nice removal spell in green, and you just eventually can turn it into a card advantage engine, and it's one color, fits into every green deck. Really nice start to a draft. In the commons, there is a long stock brawl, which I really like. The fact that you can just get such an efficient spell is really nice. If you can avoid giving them a fish, you probably would like that better, because then if they do kill your creature, then you don't have to worry about like them ending up with a fish resource. But it's still just a good card. So I think that's the card I would take if I wasn't taking Hunter's Talent. But yeah, pretty happy to start with the old Hedgehog Archer. Okay, so one thing that I like to talk about in draft is a card like Clement, which is a 2-color card. So it's a blue-green card, which means it's less flexible. It only fits into one deck. It is pretty good, though, where there's a lot of enters the battlefield effects in the Frog deck. And when it enters, you can return a creature with lesser mana to its owner's hand, and it can tap for blue or green, which is quite nice. So a very strong card, but one that's like not very flexible. So if there's something flexible and strong, we'd rather have that. That being said, this pack is kind of weak. I do think Fountain Port Bell is good. The fact that it's a May ability where you don't have to put a land on top is really nice, because in the late game, just 2 mana, like, draw a new card. But if in the early game, it can like fix your mana pretty nicely. The Starseer Mentor has the same problem as the Clement, except the benefit of Clement is it's at least partially on the same color as my Hunter's Talent. But this card's really powerful, just a different direction of multicolored card. The Dazzling Denial can be okay. The Calamitous Tide can be okay as a top-end card. Bounce a couple things, draw a couple cards. But I think I'm just going to speculate on the Clement here. I think it's a little bit enough better than the Tide, which I think is the second best card, that it's worth taking here. Okay, so now we've started off with a Hunter's Talent. We followed up with a Clement, so we don't really have a huge direction yet. We're happy going any way that the wind blows us. We see 5 blue cards in this pack, which is kind of crazy. That's a lot of blue cards. Eddie Merc Crab is okay if you have a lot of instants and sorceries. A little bit like you want to kind of have some setup for it just before taking it early, I think. Spellgyre, not the best, just kind of inefficient. None of these blue cards are like crazy. Like this card's a solid blue kind of removal interaction spell. I think Harvest Right Host is one of the best cards in this pack. You can get a couple creatures to come into play, draw a card. Also just buffing your guys is pretty nice. It plays well with the Hunter's Talent, which also like buffs creatures a little bit, and I think that this is going to be my pick. There is also Playful Shove, which I really like. Red-green, can probably just use this card, kill something small, draw a card. Just a nice little effect there. I think it's between those 2 cards as the main pick, and so I'm just going to take the Host. Okay. I feel like I've said okay after every pack. There's a Mouse Trapper, follows up nicely with the Harvest Right Host, because if you target this with the Harvest Right Host, you get to tap something. So that's like a perfect little combo. When this, or the rabbit, you target creature gets +1/+0, you target the Mouse Trapper, you get to tap something. I think that's good enough to be worth taking here. There is also Splash Portal, so it's kind of like the sort of card that might fit into a Clement the Worrywart deck. And that could be good, just like you have Clement in play, and that means you want things with enters the battlefield effects, and then this can re-trigger those. It's just kind of a niche card, though. And then Calamitous Tide again, very expensive at sorcery speed. So, yeah, we're just going to take the Mouse Trapper. I'm trying to make sure I hover over the cards long enough. Here, there is Long Stock Brawl. I really like this card. Just nice kill spell. Pretty efficient. You give your opponent a fish sometimes, but you get to have a counter left behind. Really, really good. There is also a Parting Gust, which you can use to save your own creature. You can use it to kill your opponent's creature, especially if you're going to be swinging for a big hit, giving them a 1/1, similar to the Longstock Brawl, but Longstock Brawl is more of a reliable removal spell. And then there's Brazen Collector, which could have gone well with the other red card that I passed, like the thing that does 1 damage. There is 3-Tree Root Weaver as a ramp spell. There is Nettle Guard as a 2-drop. Seed Pod Squire as like a flexible card that can trigger Valiant. And then Sunshower Druid is like an early drop that plays really well with Clement. Like if I was going hard on a Clement deck, Sunshower Druid is a card I'd be interested in. Okay, so there's no green cards, no white cards, and the cards that are here aren't particularly great. There is another Calamitous Tide. So many Calamitous Tides. The Tide is not a thing of good omens. We just know that Calamity is coming because we've seen every time the Tide comes in, there's a giant crocodile that just wipes out our village. We probably shouldn't have settled here in the first place. Zoraline turned her attention to the shore. Helga's and Ralph's conversation quickly faded from her mind as she watched the gigantic wave approach. They really need to learn. Picks 3, 4, and 6. We're seeing just so many tides. But yeah, I'm just going to take Hidden Grotto here. It's just like a weird, like a kind of flexible card that maybe is useful if I want to splash. That's why I spent so much time talking with the Tide. There's nothing crazy going on in that pack. I don't think that I really want to try to jump into blue for like those kind of medium cards. Pileated Provisioner. Decent card. There's also Sunshower Druid, the Sky Skipper duo. I might just take Paw Patch formation though. Draw a card, make a food token, or you can kill a flyer. Just kind of flexible, kind of sideboard card that you can kind of main deck. There's also a Sky Skipper duo, so plays well with Clement. I feel like the Clement deck is potentially like something open, but we kind of have these white cards that I like a little bit better. Maybe I should just like commit to the... I'm just going to maybe consider playing blue-green. It just seems quite open. Uncharted Haven. Sure. Like taking a random card that's like a niche playable / sideboard card at heart is not like that big of a deal to take like a random speculative pick for the Clement deck that might want to be drafted. Blue has seemed very open. It's just none of the cards that are blue have been very good, which means maybe blue isn't open. Waxwane Witness is like a medium card, just like big body and hits pretty hard, but I'm just gonna take the Haven. Give myself some more flexibility here. Now there's a Heaped Harvest. So when it enters or when you sacrifice it, you get a land. And so that's just a really good flexible pick. We haven't seen anything too powerful yet. We have a Clement. We have a couple white cards. We got these. I think we just are going to try to play green and see where that leads us. Okay. Well, now we get a Fountain Port Bell. I honestly wouldn't mind a Tide. I would probably play one, but we've seen so many of them. The Bell with the Hidden Grotto and the Haven. Getting the Bell this late means that we're kind of set up for like a green multicolor deck, especially with the Heaped Harvest. So I'm excited to see how that kind of ends up looking. It just seems like kind of an interesting strategy to go for in a deck that cares a lot about like very specific card combos. And now we get a Sky Skipper duo. Looks like we're kind of like in a good spot for a Clement deck, honestly. I really don't think this card's very good. But I think this card's not good either, so. Wow, Seed Pod Squire last is kind of wild. Well, this is the perfect card for our kind of multicolor deck. It can tap for mana of any color. It plays really well with Offspring. It's a really good card to bounce back to our hand with Clement. I don't really want to play the Seed Pod Squire, but I think the card's better than a last pick. But yeah, Tender Wild Guide is awesome. And also the Tender Wild Guide token, Wild Guide token is just so cute. There's also a Root Weaver, which is pretty good for our deck. I don't think Sunspine Links is actually that good in draft. Like 4 mana 5/4 pretty much. That's pretty much just what it does. And then they can't gain life. So sometimes good against food. But generally just like not as good in draft as it would be in constructed. Really easy Tender Wild Guide pick though. Oh my gosh. Fecund Green Shell is amazing. I love this card. So your creatures get +2/+2. When it or another creature enters, then you get to look at the top card, either ramp with it or just put it onto the battlefield tapped. It plays so well with like cards that like can re-trigger it, like Sky Skipper Duo. Excellent card here. I wouldn't mind a Bellowing Crier to go with this kind of Clement strategy, but Green Shell's awesome. Green is looking very open. Okay, now there is a Dire Downdraft. There is, I think blue-green is where we're going to end up probably. Blue seemed quite open pack one. There's a Playful Shove here, which is a good card. I might just take the Uncharted Haven, though. I don't really feel the need to take Dire Downdraft as like an interactive spell. And I am going to try to splash something, I think. And we're just setting up for whatever that splash ends up being. Playful Shove is solid. Mage is really good, I think, in like a blue-red deck, probably. Because it pings things. Pings your opponent, not things. Pings your opponent. I'm just going to take another Uncharted Haven. Wow. Well, I think we found the card we want to splash. It's so hard. We don't know. We can play red-green and then splash blue. Perfect. Moira Trash Tactician's another cool card, but I think the red-green stuff is going to be awesome with Hugs. Hugs is just great. You get to play it for a lot of mana, and then you get to, like, even if you re-trigger it, you can like bring it back to your hand and then play it again. That's even good. Yeah. Hugs is awesome. This card's awesome as well. All of a sudden, our deck is really coming together. We might not even want to play blue at all. That's one of the reasons I've been happy taking these green cards. This card's excellent. Non-creature or otter. We have plenty of non-creatures. 4 non-creatures so far. I think that's better than the Pathmaker. Another Uncharted Haven. Oh, yes! The Byway Barterer. If we expend 4, we can discard our hand to draw 2. It's all coming up, Nikolai. Okay, so now let's mess with our deck. We aren't going to play white. Oh my gosh. So, on one hand, we're probably just, like, wrecking the person that was passing to us who really wanted to get all the red-green cards. We're just getting so much stuff. This is so good for us. Like, look at this. We don't need the Sunshower Druid anymore. We don't need Clement. So just our red-green deck on its base is looking very good here. We have like 12 cards we can play here. This is only 9 really because these are lands. Red-green's the best home for the Brawl. But then we kind of have all this like stuff that we kind of want to do, like the Duo. And so deal 2 to each creature. So that kills like basically none of our stuff. I think I'm just going to take the Skyskipper Duo. Do I even want the Skyskipper Duo? Would I rather have Bumble? Bumbles. Bounce. I'll just take a Bumble. Give myself a little bit of interaction guaranteed if I need it. Put in the Heaped Harvest. What do we want to splash? Don't want to splash a double-colored card. I'll take the mouse for now. Fits into a red deck. Clement is ramp. We can only ramp for creature spells. Maybe we'll find something in pack 3 that we want to splash. But getting Hugs is awesome, and a Wandertail Mentor. We've got a lot of good cards there. Perfect. Roughshod Duo seems like it'll play well here. With this, and these two, I think splashing would be, if we didn't splash, it would be kind of a waste. It would be kind of a waste, because we have so many good tools for it, and Tender Wild Guide helps with it. Like, we have so much fixing that I feel like we are looking for a splash. Ooh, Playful Shove is great. Nice little way to ping something and draw a card. Keep going through the deck, finding our good cards like our Great Shell and our Hugs. Hugs is awesome. Just cast this and just profit. Wow, last pick Pathmaker. Red is open. So now we have the choice. We could take a Darkstar Augur to be our splash card, but I don't think it's great in this deck where we want to play a lot of expensive cards. If we have like a couple sick, like I think our average converted mana cost right now is pretty low, average 2.8. So that means on average we're taking 1.5 damage every turn from this thing. Or we could just take like a Baker's Bane Duo, which is going to be fantastic. And like not worry about our splash just yet. Zoraline would be a double splash. This is actually a shockingly bad pack for me. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 white cards. 1, 2, 3 black cards, and then like a black white card. What the heck am I supposed to take here? I'm gonna take Zoraline. I don't think I want to splash blue for Sugar Coat or whatever, and maybe we do something crazy. Like play 1 Swamp, 1 Plains. Rust Shield Rampager just seems good to me. Just nice, big body. You can get an extra copy of it. Like it's a 1/1 still, but it's just extra resources. Stalking doesn't seem very good to me, and I'm just happy to get the Rampager. Rampager plays well with the Longstalk Brawl. Honestly, splashing Zoraline is not out of the question, I don't think. Okay, yeah, we're taking this guy. I absolutely love Bushy Bodyguard. Like, if you have, like, anything in your graveyard, like, if you just get in enabled, you just get so many stats. It's insane. I love Baker's Bane Duo. I think this card's great as well, but I don't think that you can convince me not to take this card, like, most of the times I see it. You just play this, and if you can enable it twice, you just get a 4/3 and a 3/3 for 1 card and 4 mana. It's awesome. There's also a Teapot Slinger, which is just going to be worse. Baker's Bane Duo is good, as we already established. Wick. When Wick or another rat enters, you create a snail. Yeah, I'm not going to be playing a lot of rats. This pack is not good for me. I guess I'll just take this guy. Thornplate Intimidator. I'll take it, sure. If I'm splashing black, I can just get a bunch of extra stuff going. The Scribe. Giving some of my stuff haste seems pretty good, but I don't really want to worry about that. I think I'll just take a 2-drop. We get a Bell. There's also a Saver, but Bell seems just good for me. I think I will play the Zoraline. This is such a weird, like, situation I'm in here with the splash that I'm doing. Wow, we got back the Teapot Slinger? Feels kind of crazy to me. This card's just really good. Gonna cut the mascot. I don't really want to play the Wax Wayne Witness. This is going to be a weird mana base to build, but I just have a few black cards here. Okay, so we have 2, 8, 15, 16, 17 lands. These two are going to get swamps a lot. We're barely splashing black. We're going to get the Glide Dive, the Thornplate, the Zoraline. Yeah, this deck seems great to me. Hopefully cast Hugs. Yeah, I'm excited for this deck. This deck seems fun. I could play this 2-1, but I don't think it's very good. Yeah, let's just see how this does. How many cards do we have that work with the Great Shell? Teapot, Harnesser. We don't have a lot of cards that work with it. I mean, it just in and of itself is a good card. But we could play like this. I just don't think that card does enough on its own. We could also just like play this guy. But I think we'll be fine. Sweet. I will see you folks in the games. Before I get to the games, I want to give a huge shout out to all of the people who support my channel at patreon.com/NicolaiBolas. It really does make a big difference, and it really helps me continue making as many videos as I do. If you're interested in becoming a patron, you gain access to some cool rewards when you do become a patron, like my card-by-card draft tier list for Bloomburrow, where I've graded every single card in the set on an A through F scale, as well as a new Patreon reward, the Format Thoughts Doc, which is where I keep track of a bunch of thoughts I have on the format, like individual cards, the archetypes, big picture, things like that, and that'll help you really get a leg up on the format as well. I want to give a special shout out to those patrons who do support at the credits level. I really do appreciate each and every one of you. But without further ado, let's get to the games. Welcome to round one. Great hand here. We have all our colors. I am going to decline this. I already have the Heaped Harvest. Already got all my colors plus the Heaped Harvest. I am just going to try to play the Great Shell here on turn 5. Never lucky, as they say. I'll happily trade these off. Honestly, my mana's working out pretty well right now. we didn't even have to use the bell to get mana. I assume they have something because this is a bad trade otherwise. Yeah. But like maybe they had a green card that they now can't cast or something like that. Whoa, it's got a little raccoon symbol for the expend. That's cool. Wow, just playing that guy. No value. Zoraline's gonna get some work done here. Wait, this is a 3-1? I thought this was a 2-1. What? Oh my gosh! I've been reading this as a 2-1 the whole time. That's wild. Okay. Yes! Oh, the plan is coming together. My opponent conceded way before the game was actually over and didn't let me do any cool stuff with Zoraline, but still, let's go. Nice win. Huge. Oh, that was so satisfying. The colors worked perfectly. The Zoraline was awesome. Like, what are they going to do against Zoraline? It's just like, oh, well, they're just dead. They are just dead. The fixing was pretty good, I would say. That was awesome. Quite good, I'd say. Okay, welcome to round 2. We will keep this hand. Thank you, Fountainport Bell. Going to get us some red mana. Remember that black is way more important than white for our deck because we only have the Zoraline that's in white. Okay. So we are going to name red mana. So now we have double red, double green for our hugs. Sure. I am a little bit behind here, but I'm probably just going to play the Rampager on turn 4, give myself a big blocker. Then hugs on turn 5. So this is going to be really good if I can get the hugs to work. So if I hit a land, I can play that land, then play the bodyguard, and completely stabilize, hopefully. I'm going to try to go trade here, like block here, they'll pump. Or I guess I would go block there, block here. The Warren Elder's doing a lot of work. They can do that at instant speed, so they didn't need to do it that way. Unless they have like a fight spell or something. Oh, yeah, of course. Well, that's really bad for me. Well, that actually works out perfect. I've realized that I had to make a change in plan here a little bit. Because I want to be able to cast this for 4. So I don't think I want to forage with the 2-1 because the 2-1 can already trade for something. Oh, would it have been better to just do this one with Offspring? So now they attack in with everything. I go block here, block here, block here. The Head of the Homestead plus the Warren Elder is a pretty devastating combo. Oh gosh, I'm so dead. I'm so dead. Yeah, that card's really hard to beat. If I had played my Tender Wild Guide with Kicker instead of this thing with the Kicker, I could have had this thing as a 4-3. I would have had a better 1-1 that was growing. And maybe I'd have a better shot here. Yeah, they just really... The long stock brawl was really just so efficient at, like, killing my 4-4 that, like, it made it really hard for me. Like, I guess maybe I needed to play Hugs that turn. Or I just needed to, like, suck it up and play the Tender Wild Guide for no value on turn 2 and just hope for the best. But then they could have just fought that thing with their Thistle Down players and killed that. And it would have slowed me down still. I'm still kind of figuring out the sequencing in this format, I think, where it's like, which things are most important. But if I can find a kill spell for this Warren Elder, maybe I can stabilize. But, like, they're getting so many counters from their Innkeeper's talent. It's going to be almost impossible to win. I should have definitely named red mana. I mean, black mana, black mana. So they pump everything. I have a Hugs left. I'll have Hugs and Wild Guide left. So I just need to find a spell here. Oh no, they have Dewdrop Cure. Oh gosh. Yeah, I'm just dead. Oh gosh. That was a tough one. I think I could have won that game if I was on the play, probably. Was I on the play? I don't think I was. It was just like they were able to like steamroll me a little too quickly, but if I was on the play, I could have like deployed my cards much faster before their long stock brawl could get me, I think. But that's like hard to say for sure. The Warren Elder, I needed to find a removal spell there, and I just didn't. Like, if I could have been able to kill their Warren Elder, then they would have been so much less scary. Okay. This hand is nice. Also, I forgot to mention this. We're going to play 5 rounds with this deck because that'll give us like a good mix of getting to like play with the cards, but also like play as many different decks as possible in the course of the event. Because in this early access event, it's good to like make the best use of time and stuff. I love just playing this for 4 mana, but like I think playing it on turn 2 is still the best here. pot is going to kill the light. I really like the rabbit. Because I want the 3/3 because the 2/1 can trade with the rabbit no matter what. I do want to play the Great Shell, and I want to cast this on turn 7. And then I want to be able to play this and activate it. They're mana screwed here. Another Warren Elder. Hello, Hugs. That's another reason to play things the way I did. So I can play this for X equals 2 right now. Well, that's scary. I will get my swamp now. Normally, I would want to use my full value Roughshod duo. I guess it's only 8 damage, and I can kill that next turn. Yeah, I'm not actually that worried about Warren Elder. Maybe I should be. Maybe I'm just being silly. Like, they have so many tokens in play, killing the Warren Elder seems really good. Well, that's a cool little animation. Okay, yeah, that's kind of scary. I'm going to have to kill the Warren Elder now, of course. This green-white deck has been terrifying. I do think Warren Elder's really good, too. 6, 7. I might be being too greedy here. This thing's about to trigger, though. Uh-oh. So they're going to buff everything, I think, with +2/+1. Am I just dead? No, I'm not. I took 12. So this thing can give +1/+1 trample, so I can hit them for 14 with trample. Gosh, if they draw another one of the +2/+1s, I'm going to be so sad. Okay, I barely live. Wow, this game was so close. The life gain, so clutch. They're just dead on board, pretty much. I just have to give this thing the trample. Ooh, barely won that. Oh my gosh. That was insane. That's why you have to be aware of the giant mass pump effects, like the +2/+1 for everything, because you have to make sure you don't die to those. But oh my gosh, what a game. Okay, we have a rematch against the person we just faced, so it's like a best of 3 almost, if I win this, of course. Okay, red. I'm going to just play this on turn 4. It's very greedy, I know, but I don't have much to do in my hand. That's pretty good. I am going to try to kill this with my Bumbleflower's Share Pot. So they'll draw like 1 card off of it. I could have Playful Shoved this, but I can do that next turn, and I can also just start growing these guys. Wow, every turn they don't attack, I get such a huge advantage here. Oh my gosh, that's so... Oh my god. That's so tough. +2/+1 game. Yeah, that thing is just insane. 5/1/1s is just insane. Oh, I could have beaten him if they didn't have that card too, though. I just needed like one more turn to like start deploying more blockers. Oh gosh. Maybe just killing their thing with my Bumbleflower Sharepot was too aggressive. I need to just let them draw an extra card and get an extra blocker into play. Then again, them having the season that just gives them 5/1/1s. It's just so many cards. Oh, man. We were so close, though. Ugh. I feel like we could have gotten there. Maybe I was also too aggressive with my Possum guy. Like, I could have just, like, played that guy. Like, going for the value on that guy was probably just, like, a mistake. It just slowed me down, and then I wasn't far enough ahead by that point. Like, if I just play that on turn 2, turn 4, I play my Pathkeeper guy. Turn 5, I play the Great Shell. I'm in much better shape there, I think. Lesson learned. Also, this is going to be the last round with this deck. We'll hopefully end with a positive record and then move on to trying a new one. Okay, lesson learned, Tender Wild Guide. You're coming down on turn 2, and I don't care what they say. The Offspring mode is a trap on this card. Oh, gosh, the Wild Guide. They're really good in the late game because of the Offspring mode, but on turn 2, you just got to get that ramp going, I think. Oh, my gosh. I feel like I'm just falling for the value trap. Like, if this was in some formats, it'd be really good to just always get the value with this guy. Have 2 growing threats, but like just ramping out your stuff against that Rabbits deck is just so important. I live in fear of the rabbits. Okay. What was that? Why did I do that? I could have just attacked them. No! I'm so foolish. I could have just hit them for 2 and then played this guy. Huh. I wonder why my mind thought that that wouldn't be as good. Yeah. Or I could have just grown this guy with a counter. That could be like game losing. That was horrible. Oh my gosh. I will decline that mode. But yeah, it'll all work out, I think. I'm feeling confident. I've got 3 rares in play and another in the hand. I've only played rares this game. What are they even going to kill with the Sharepot? They also might forget this has reach, like that one person did earlier. They didn't forget, dang it. So I get to trigger this if I play this guy, so I'm going to do that. I actually got another trigger off of it. I don't have that many ways to trigger it a second time. I think Barterer is better in some decks than others. My deck feels like it has a lot of card draw in it. They only have 1 card in their hand because they mulliganed, and so they're kind of in rough shape here, I think. Okay, they keep it on top. Remember, this thing can kill something that hasn't really gotten its full usefulness yet. Let's see what we shall see. Interesting. I can potentially use Sherepot to kill their Sherepot. I'm just going to hang out for now. I now have another blocker for if they use Sherepot on my green shell, which they probably will. But now I have another flying blocker. Barterer could be useful down the line here, though. Wow, Zoraline down. I really want to win this to have a positive record with this deck. 3-2 would be good. I need to keep my Great Shell alive, so I'm just going to do this. My Sherepot takes down your Sherepot. If I draw a land next turn, I can go Harvest into Pathmaker, and then discard my hand to draw 2. I think I'm winning this value battle. Very slowly, though. And it could swing on any point because they have flyers and I don't have any flyers. I just have this guy keeping me safe. They didn't want to do that on end step, so they kind of have a plan for that, it looks like. Why would it tap my red mana? Yeah, I'll draw 2. Why not? Nice. I'm happy to trade this for basically anything. Well, that's a good trade for me. Do they have a sweeper or something? Maybe they have a sweeper and that's why they didn't sack the carrot cake. So if I draw a land, I can get my Great Shell enabled. My board state is huge. I think I've definitely learned, like, okay, playing this thing really let me accelerate my game plan, and then I had a really good late game anyway, so I don't need to use this for a late game insurance thing. It's like, it's good in the late game, but in the opener, you should just play it. Okay, I really have a feeling they have a board sweeper. Like, this is the sort of attack of somebody that has a sweeper. Spending this because I have to play it anyway, and this is why I trigger my cards. Decline, because I have a pretty good 6-drop in hand. If they don't have a sweeper, I'm going to win anyway. That's kind of how I'm viewing this. Boom. Got the win. Yes. Huge. Nice. Got the 3-2 finish with this deck. Feels pretty good. I'm really happy we got to play it. Got to try some stuff out. The splashing felt very, very smooth. A lot of our cards were really good. I think we could have won the one game we lost to the Rabbits deck, because even though they had like a really good like make 5 tokens, hit you for like 1 billion damage the following turn, if I had like played a little bit more aggressively and deployed my early ramp spell, I think I could have maybe gotten that one a little bit more close at least. But really fun draft, really interesting to see how the benefits of staying flexible, getting like a late hugs, like a lot of really good red-green cards, especially in pack 2. Really fun draft, and I hope you did enjoy it. Huge shout out to Wizards of the Coast again for the free preview account to let me play in this event to help get these recorded early. But yeah, that's going to do it for this one. If you made it all the way till the end of the video, leave hashtag... I'm just trying to come up with one that has hugs in it, because in the lore, Hugs always carries Zoraline on his back, which is really funny. So leave hashtag get carried to let me know you made it all the way to the end of the video, because even though our draft wasn't carried by any card, it's just kind of like a nice little shout out to the lore. That's going to do it for this one, though. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll talk to you next time.